السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت عليك السلام. قال إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به. فصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. اللهم صل. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن قد أقبل. وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين قد أقبل. وقال السلام عليك يا أمه. فقلت وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي يا أمه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله. فقلت نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا جداه. السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله. أتأذن لي أن أدخل معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي قد أذنت لك. فدخلا معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله. أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له وعليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصيي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله. أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومي بيدي اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إني هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. أنا حرب لمن حاربهم، وسلم لمن سالمهم، وعدو لمن أعداهم، ومحب لمن أحبهم. إنهم مني وأنا منهم، فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال الله عز وجل: يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل: يا ربي، ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل: هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعادن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. فقال جبرائيل: يا ربي، أتأذن لي أن أحبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله: نعم، قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل فقال: السلام عليك يا رسول الله. العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام، ويقول لك: وعزتي وجلالي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنيا ولا أرضا مدحيا ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، فقد أذن لي أن أدخل معكم، فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله: وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله، إنه نعم، قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء، فقال لأبي: إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول: إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. اللهم صل على محمد. فقال علي لأبي: يا رسول الله، أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي: والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا: يا علي، والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيهم محموم إلا وفرج الله همه، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غمه، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضي الله حاجته. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة. صدق الله العلي العظيم. الله.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل دیگر محمد وعلى محمد صلوات. ماشاء اللہ سے اردو میں آتا ہے. اردو کا قصیدہ پیش کرتا ہوں. امام حسین علیہ السلام کے قسم شان بارے دیگر صلوات. ایک روز جناب حسن اور حضرت شبیر، ایک روز جناب حسن اور حضرت شبیر، بسد شوق یہی نانا سے بسد شوق یہی کرتے تھے تقریر، نانا سے بسد شوق یہی کرتے تھے تقریر. ہم دونوں اخی گرچہ ہیں قرآن کی تفسیر، پر آپ کو منظور سوا کس کی ہے توقیر، پر آپ کو منظور سوا کس کی ہے توقیر. فرمایا کہ تم مانیے قرآن ہو دونوں، فرمایا کہ تم مانیے قرآن ہو دونوں، واللہ پر مجھ کی تم جان ہو دونوں. ایک روز جناب حسن صلوات. میں ابھی امیر کی شان میں پیش کرتا ہوں. بارے دیا صلوات. منتظر کعبے کا پہنچا صفائی کے لیے. منتظر کعبے کا پہنچا صفائی کے لیے. عیب تو اب اور گھر ڈھونڈو خدائی کے لیے. منتظر کعبے کا پہنچا صفائی کے لیے. آئے کعبے کی زمین پر جب سے حیدر کے قدم. آئے کعبے کی زمین پر جب سے حیدر کے قدم. جائے سجدہ بن گئی ساری خدائی کے لیے. جائے سجدہ بن گئی ساری خدائی کے لیے. چیرتے ہیں کل اجدر کو جھولے میں علی. چیرتے ہیں کل اجدر کو جھولے میں علی. آج پہلی مشق ہے خیبر کشائی کے لیے. آج پہلی مشق ہے خیبر کشائی کے لیے. دو کیا مذہب کو حیدر نے پکاری ذوالفقار. دو کیا حیدر دو کیا مذہب کو حیدر نے پکاری ذوالفقار. ہاتھ ایسا چاہیے تیرا آزمائی کے لیے. ہاتھ ایسا چاہیے تیرا آزمائی کے لیے. مجھ سے جو چاہے لے تمہیں پوچھ لے منکر نکیر. مجھ سے جو چاہے لے تمہیں پوچھ لے منکر نکیر. آ گئے مولا میرے مشکل کشائی کے لیے. آ گئے مولا میرے مشکل کشائی کے لیے. شعر ہے کس کے گھر اترے ستارہ عرش سے دیکھو قمر. عرش کس کے گھر اترے ستارہ عرش سے دیکھو قمر. ये निशान है फातिमा की कद खुदाई के लिए, ये निशान है फातिमा की कद खुदाई के लिए। मुंतजिम काबे का पहुंचा सफाई के। सलावत। माले दिया सलावत।
अकबर
کو دعائیں لینا ہے ابھی محمد کی بلائیں اے رات نہ ڈھلنا کہ اجڑ جائے گی زینب اے رات بکھر جا تیرے بس میں ہو جہاں تک مٹ جائیں گے کل آلے پیمبر کے نشان تک باقی ہے یہ منظر علی اکبر کی اذاں تک اے رات نہ ڈھلنا کہ اجڑ جائے گی زینب ہر چاند کے بچوں کی ابھی پیاس ہے باقی کچھ آنکھ میں حسرت ہے تو کچھ آس ہے باقی لیکن میرا بھائی میرا عباس ہے باقی اے رات نہ ڈھلنا کہ اجڑ جائے گی زینب باقی ہے ابھی آل محمد کا سفینہ بیٹی کے سلانے کو ہے شبیر کا سینہ جھولا علی اصغر کا جھلاتی ہے سکینہ اے رات نہ ڈھلنا کہ اجڑ جائے گی زینب بھائی سے دمِ صبح بچھڑ جائے گی زینب صلوات
عزاداران سید مسلوم السلام علیکم. I would like to request a Fatiha for all the marhumeens of my household. Please include the marhumeens of your households, your families. Include the Maraje-Izam, Ulma-e Karam, and Shuhada-e Haq. Please have a Fatiha. So I was trying to prepare for this majlis in English some poem. There are a lot of new Urdu nohas that have been translated into English. However, I was able to find a poem that is for Imam Hussain alayhi salam in Karbala, in English, and it's written by Heather. In the interest of time, I will shorten it so that we can get more and more time from Maulana Muntadher on this. But first, have a salawat. In the realm of faith, a tale is told of a noble soul, brave and bold. Imam Hussain, a revered name, in the sands of Karbala he etched his fame. A beacon of light with a heart of gold, he stood against tyranny, fearless and bold. In the face of injustice, he refused to yield. For truth and justice, he took the field. Karbala's sands bore witness that day, as Hussein's camp stood firm, come what may. With loyal companions, a small but mighty band, they faced an army vast and grand. In Karbala's tragedy, a lesson resides of sacrifice, resilience, and unwavering stripes. Imam Hussein's spirit forever endures, inspiring hearts as faith assures. And the whole theme of this poem that at least resonated with me is, so let us remember the tale of Karbala. Let us remember the tale of Karbala and the sacrifice of Hussein. Our salams, our salah. His courage lives on, his legacy is still untold. Imam Hussein, a story of love and valor forever unfold. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. I would like to also announce that we have the Majlis tomorrow at Brother Riyaz's home. It would also be recited by Maulana Muntadher. Now I would like to invite Maulana Muntadher with a loud salawat.
Brothers, if we can just move up a little bit so we can have some room for the people who are coming in and in the back. If you can leave just that space open between the chairs so we can have people coming in. Thank you.
This is good. This is good. Yeah, this is good.
Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Respected brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والحمد لله رب العالمين وآلاف التحية والسلام على نبينا نبي الرحمة محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. والبراءة من أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين. اللهم أنطقني بالهدى وألهمني التقوى ووفقني للتي هي أزكى. اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. صلى الله عليك يا رسول الله، صلى الله عليك يا أبا عبد الله. غريب يا مظلوم كربلاء، ويا عبرة كل مؤمن ومؤمنة، ويا باب نجاة الأمة. ما خاب والله من تمسك بكم، وأمنا من لجأ إلى حسنكم، وفاز من والاكم وسار بنهجكم. فيا ليتنا كنا معكم فنفوز فوزا عظيما. Together with our hearts and voices to Karbala. Assalamu ala al-Husayn wa ala Ali ibn al-Husayn وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Once again, السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين وعلى الحوراء زينب وعلى أبي الفضل وعلى أم البنين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. For the hastening of the reappearance of our beloved 12th Imam, for the qada of our hawa'ij and your hawa'ij, for the shifa of all those who are ill, for the acceptance of our a'mal, for the rahmah and surur to be bestowed upon our beloved ones who are in the qubur, let us recite 3 times a loud salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. قال الله الحكيم في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. واتل عليهم نبأ الذي آتيناه آياتنا فانسلخ منها فأتبعه الشيطان فكان من الغاوين. Relate to them the news of him whom we gave our signs, but he detached himself from them. So Satan pursued him and he became of the deviators. صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. In spirit of this holy verse, I will highlight 3 of the detrimental moral illnesses that set a person up for su'ul aqibah. What is su'ul aqibah? Su'ul aqiba, my dears, literally translates to the bad ending. The bad ending. Many people start their lives as believers, as righteous, on the straight path. But somehow something happens down the road, they divert, and their end state is that which is bad, that which is evil. Because a person's reality or a person's conclusion or a person's outcome is not measured from the start of their journey, it's measured in the end of their journey. You may find someone like Al-Hurr bin Yazid al-Riyahi, who up until the day of Ashura, we would assume that he's from the people of hellfire because he was on the camp of Ibn Sa'd. But subhanAllah, the last moments changed him, and now he's a martyr. When we go to Karbala, we visit Al-Hurr. When we visit Al-Hussein alayhi salam, what a status. The three magicians that were hired by Musa alayhi salam up until the moment of the challenge were destined to be in eternal hellfire or an eternity in hellfire. Yet just an hour later, when they saw the miracle of Musa alayhi salam, they became martyrs in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and joined the mu'mineen in paradise. Yet you find, on the other hand, people who begin their life as righteous, as supporters, as Zubayr ibn al-Awwam, one of the defenders of Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam. Imagine to that level. When they attacked the house of Lady Fatima salamullahi alayha, one of the people that came out with his sword was Zubayr, and the sword was broken for the sake of Lady Fatima. His sword was always raised for the sake of defending Rasulullah in his wars. SubhanAllah, the outcome in the end was not as expected. What are these illnesses that set people up for such a bad ending? Why would someone start on the straight path and then divert? We sometimes look at the symptoms. Oh, they're destined. No, they're not destined to be a deviant. Allah does not destine you to be a deviant. Allah loves all of us, wants us all to go to heaven and paradise. Allah even loves the person who later was called Iblis. Otherwise, He wouldn't create him. But then when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tested him and he failed, and this is a great example which we will allude to, is Iblis. Started his life with worship and worship that has no like, especially during that time. The fact that the malaika would look up to him, and when the command came to the malaika, it didn't say malaika and jinn. No, it says malaika, but as if he is part of the malaika from how righteous he was, always engaged in worship. In fact, they look up to him as a role model to that extent. But what happened to Iblis? These are three major illnesses that we find highlighted in the Quran and the Hadith that if we do not eradicate from our hearts early on, they will set us up for failure. Now you may think, how would that set me up for failure? If I have the first illness, which I'll talk about, which is arrogance, kibr, the worst that can happen is, I might act arrogant with my brothers in Islam, my sisters in Islam, and that it's okay, these things happen. I might be a little bit prejudiced, I might act racist in a way here and there. Yeah, but that's forgiven. How is that going to set me for su'ul aqibah? No. When the test comes, it is really difficult. Take this scenario. I honestly tell myself this scenario. I speak to myself sometimes with this scenario. And I pray to Allah that I will not be alive to be tested in that scenario. And if I am alive, I ask Allah for help. It's a really tough scenario. Imagine I lead a community for 20 and 30 years with a position, a specific position, right? Be it religious leadership, management, whatever it may be. And all of a sudden, our beloved Imam appears. And he begins to assign leaders to different centers in different areas and so on and so forth. And he says, people of Minnesota Jama'ah, this is my letter to you. You, myself addressing me, are no longer in that position. So what's my role, Maulana Sayyidi ibn Rasulullah? He says, your role is, when the people come in and put their shoes you take their shoes, you clean it, and you wait by the shoes. You don't sit inside until they leave. You make sure that you present their shoes before them. And whatever they say to you, you just not respond. You give them the smile and you appreciate everything they do. And then when they're done, you go take the trash and put it in the garbage. Ibn Rasulullah, that's my role. He said, that's your role. No discussion. And the person that you always thought, and I don't look down on anyone, but assuming, always thought as the least of the community, this will be the leader in your decision, in your place. I have given him the knowledge, the authority, and all that it needs to lead you. When you pray Jama'ah, make sure you pray behind him and not in the first lane. You're going to be in the last lane. Make sure you do that. Now, this test is going to be big. I'll be honest with you. It's not easy. It's not easy. If I've been doing this for 30 years, for example, even for 2 years, even for 2 months, as humans, arrogance, pride, all these illnesses will start to manifest. Iblis for 6,000 years or more was not aware of that arrogance. He kind of neglected it. He wasn't tested. When you're in good standing and there's no tests, everyone seems like they're in good situation. When you put them in the test is when you see the real gold. You know, fake gold can always look like it's real gold. But when you put it in the test, this is when you realize it's real gold or fake gold. And our souls are the same thing. Sometimes I myself have a fake personality. You put it in the test and you see, wow, I thought it was genuine. It's not really genuine. It's actually fake. So we have to keep this in mind, my dears, that don't underestimate this illness, because these are the same illnesses that led to su'ul aqibah many people in history. The first thing that I want to mention is arrogance. Seeing yourself, and I say yourself, please excuse me, I don't mean you. I mean the person, the far person, myself at least. Seeing that person as superior to others. Sometimes subconsciously we feel it. Consciously, Astaghfirullah Maulana, I am at your service. I am humble, right? Some people think it's all about the gestures, and these gestures and moves are okay to train you. They don't really indicate that you're really humble. Be careful. Sometimes shaitan comes to us through these means. I may act humble in front of you, right? But when it comes to things where I'm really tested, you see my real me. No humbleness, very arrogant. We have to keep that in mind. Look at the symptoms. When you see these symptoms sometimes manifest in prejudice, racism. The first racist creation of Allah was Iblis. مَا مَنَعَكَ أَن تَسْجُدَ لِمَا خَلَقْتُ بِيَدَيْ. What prevented you from performing sujood to what I have created with my hands? قَالَ, he said, أَنَا خَيْرٌ مِّنْ خَلَقْتَنِي مِنْ نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِنْ طِينٍ. I'm made of fire. You know, supremacy, we talk about supremacy. Sometimes we all have a level of supremacy, let's just be honest. We all have a level of supremacy. If we don't treat that, it's going to catch us one day. If I'm so used to only giving that special reverence to a person from my own race and my own ethnicity, and all of a sudden Sahib al-Asr wal-Zaman says, no, get out of your comfort zone. You're going to go to a different ethnicity and that's going to be your people's. How will I deal with this racism issue that I am suffering from? We want our Imam to come back soon, right? Well, then we need to be prepared, because the test is coming. And if the test is coming and I haven't prepared, high chances I'll be failing. And it's not easy. Wallahi, it's not easy. It's the most difficult thing. Kibr, arrogance. قال يا إبليس ما منعك ألا تسجد إذ أمرتك. Iblis, what prevented you from prostrating when I commanded you? Look at what Allah says in this verse. إذ أمرتك, when I commanded you. Which means that Iblis, you know exactly, when I command, no discussion, you do. He didn't give him justification as to why. I don't need to hear that you're better than him or he's better than you. The fact that Allah said do, you do, that's it. Iblis here, he responded not from his aql. He responded from his emotions, from his arrogance. He knows, logically speaking, that this type of rhetoric and that type of criteria doesn't work with Allah. That you're from fire. Who created you from fire? Allah. Who created Adam from clay? Allah. That same Allah is telling you, prostrate to him. So in the end, if someone's going wrong with this, it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wal-'ayadhu billah. Allah, there's no way he'll go wrong. And Iblis, you know that. You're not stupid. You're intelligent. Iblis, by the way, is intelligent and knowledgeable. But how come intelligent, knowledgeable, yet he failed? Why? Because he gave the authority to his nafs, to his ego, to his arrogance, to his desires. A lot of smart people make wrong decisions. Not because they're not smart. No. Because they suspend that intelligence at that moment and they allow their ego to speak, their emotions to react. And that is the real problem, my dears. This is the first thing, arrogance. Whenever you find traces of arrogance, work on it before it develops. These illnesses are much more dangerous than, God forbid, cancer. Of course, when we hear cancer, oh my God, God forbid, may Allah keep it away from all of us, right? But guess what's the worst thing that cancer can do? Kill your body, right? But these things don't kill your body, they kill your spirit. They set you up for su'al aqibah, to be among the people who will be resurrected with Iblis. It's not an easy thing. That's the first thing. Kibr, arrogance. The second is hasad. Hasad translates to envy. Let me give you the definition and don't worry about the words, because we do have a problem in mixing up words and calling this, that, and this, even within the Arabs. The language is Arabic, the words are Arabic, yet the words are not put in the right definition. So let's worry about the definition and leave the word to the side, because sometimes you have your own understanding, preconception of what hasad is. A lot of people I hear understand hasad as evil eye. Hasad is not evil eye, evil eye is something else. Hasad is different. وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ. Hasad is different. Hasad is being annoyed when seeing a bounty reaching someone else. It's a feeling. I hear that someone, for example, achieved something from this dunya, be it worldly or even non-worldly. For example, if I'm a mu'min and I heard someone went to ziyarah, well, that's a gain. They went to hajj, that's a gain. They were granted righteous children, that's a gain. They found a good wife, good husband, that's a gain. They are able to contribute to charitable organization. These are good gains, right? Or worldly, they bought a Ferrari. Well, that's a gain too, but a worldly gain. But in the end, when I see and hear that someone has received some type of gain from Allah, some type of bounty, now it may not exactly be a bounty, sometimes it's a test for that person. But from my understanding, in the end, it's a bounty. If I feel really annoyed and bothered by it, now that bothersome or that feeling of annoyance, it's natural to have a little bit of it that comes but fades away quickly. A mu'min does feel hasad sometimes. So don't think that when you have that feeling right away that, oh my God, I am a evil person. No, this is a natural human thing. We are innately competitive. We like to compete. And when someone has something I don't have, I'm going to be bothered about it. But being a mu'min, you right away repel that feeling. It doesn't settle. The problem is when it settles and you start thinking about it day and night, and you start acting accordingly. See, the ayah doesn't say وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ. No. وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ. If he translates that hasad into action. If he doesn't translate it to action, we're good. Hasad. Let me give you an example of how hasad can destroy someone. We have many ulama throughout the course of history. In the ghayba as-sughra, the minor occultation, we had how many ambassadors or deputies? 4. Well, these 4 could not easily exercise their role and deal with everyone, because they were also in taqiyya, because they want to preserve the life of our beloved Imam alayhi salam. So there are always scholars side to side to these ambassadors that are not ambassadors, that these ambassadors or deputies refer people to, to take ilm from, ahkam from. One of them was Ibn Abil Azaqir al-Shalmaghani near Wasat of Iraq, near Baghdad. Now, this man was very respected even by the deputies themselves. This man was very knowledgeable, was very pious, apparently. And in fact, he wrote a book called Taklif, like a Risala Amaliya, shortened version during that time that Shia had in their homes, which has the laws of Islam, Salah, Sawm, and so on and so forth. This person was always aspiring to be a Safir one day. When the second deputy died, he thought that, 90% I am the third deputy because I am so qualified. But the choice fell on Hussein ibn Rawh, who was not as knowledgeable as he was. But Al-Hujjah alayhi salam, again, the criteria is not always knowledge. Sometimes there are things more than knowledge that set the selection. That extra level of patience and piety, and someone who's able to disclose the secrets of Ahlul Bayt. Someone could have knowledge, but you poke them like this and they'll throw everything out. So the criteria of Al-Hujjah ibn Hassan is different, Ajallahu Wajhu Sharif. So when he chose Al-Husayn ibn Ruh, this guy, the flame of envy boiled inside of him. What? He chose him over me? Little by little, he began to make claims that, I am partner in this Safara. Then when Imam Hujjah heard of his claims, he sent a la'an on him. La'an to the Shia. He said, Il'anu, or Fulan so-and-so, Ibn Abil Azaqir, alayhi la'natullah tatra, meaning his la'na of Allah may be continuous on him. What a bad outcome, or what a bad ending. Not that only, he kept on going further in his deviance, because deviance doesn't keep you at one level, it continues to go. He began to embrace the belief that Allah can enter into certain figures, and he began to exaggerate that Allah has entered into the Ma'soomeen, to the extent that some of them say he believed that Allah has also entered into him. And when his deviance reached the Abbasids, now the Abbasids don't care about Shia stuff, but this was a red line to them. If someone claims these things, he's a mughali, he's an exaggerator. According to the Abbasids, this person needs to be killed. So they chased him, and when they found him, they hung him, they killed him. Look at the outcome. He started as a very revered scholar, respected, but due to that very hasad, one alim who recently passed away during COVID, Allah bless his soul, from Qom, he said that he heard this from another alim. So one alim, and the third alim was the one who told the story. So the witness is A, the transmitter is B, that alim, and I heard from that alim. Of course, this lecture was broadcasted, it wasn't in person. And he said that this person relates to him. There was two friends, they were both ulama. One of them reached the age or the level of ijtihad and then marji'iyya, and one remained as an alim but did not reach. Not everyone reaches ijtihad. So one day the person that hasn't reached ijtihad felt sick, and it was like the sickness that he will die from. He was very ill. So his other friend, who happened to be a mujtahid, a marja', came to visit him. And he saw that he was very depressed. So he began to talk to him, what's wrong? Inshallah, Allah give you long life, health, so on and so forth. He said, look, leave this. Let me ask you a couple of questions. But he said it in a very different tone, harsh tone. He said, go ahead. He says, when we started Hawza together, who was smarter, me or you? He says, you. He says, okay. What about in the intermediate levels? He started to name levels to him, like Qaddimat, Sutuh, Bahad Kharaj, so on and so forth. Every time he asked, he says, you. He said, then why did your Lord do me wrong and give you the position of marja'iyya and I didn't reach that position? He said, what are you saying? Maulana, are you serious? I don't expect you to say that. Now logically, this Maulana who's dying, he knows logically that Allah doesn't do anyone wrong. But what was speaking was not his logic. Hasad was speaking. The envy. The envious soul was speaking. But you know what's worse than that? He requested the Holy Quran. He thought he wanted to read a verse, take istikhara, do whatever. He gave it to him. Very shocking. He opened the book. He spit in it and he died. What an outcome. What an ending. Very bad. This is not a foretale. This is not a superstition or like a fairy tale. No, this is real. One alim that narrated, I trust, and he narrated from an alim that he trusts from that person who witnessed the story. So it's not a fake thing, it's not like made up story, it's a real story. But it's unfortunate, it speaks to the reality that sometimes when we allow our emotions to govern our behavior, we would reach positions that are not very nice. The third of the illnesses that we want to combat, and this is one that maybe most people are afflicted with, is ittiba'ul hawa, translated to following desires. Now, ittiba'ul hawa, we have to understand there's a difference between hawa that is halal and hawa that is haram. Let me explain this with examples. We're created with desire. Allah does not create desire in you and expect you to suspend it, to put it on off. Otherwise, Allah would not be wise to give you something, but say, Allah gives you, for example, the ability to smell. He says, but don't smell anything. You smell, you go to hell. So why did you give me the smelling, right? Allah gives you sam'. He says, don't hear anything, not even the air. If you hear it, you go to hell. Doesn't make sense. So Allah, I have to hear, I have to smell. But Allah would tell me, okay, you can hear, but there are certain things that you should not be hearing. You can't be hearing. You can't hear ghiba, you can't hear haram ghina, you can't hear it. But the rest you can hear. But now He's giving me, He's setting the criteria for me. Desires are to be fed, are to be fulfilled. Otherwise, there's no need for them to be there. So following desire, if I am fulfilling my desire to the extent that is halal, and I am not attached to what these desires are calling for, then I'm in good standing. The problem is in two things. Number one is if I allow the desires to govern my actions and take me wherever they want. Desires have no leash. They have no leash. And they don't know what's halal and what's haram. Desires don't know. Desires just say, give me, give me, give me. You know that child that says, give me this, give me this. They don't know what's in their best interest. That is desires. It is willing to go as far as can go. Now these desires, if you are able to control them and only allow them to manifest in halal actions, then you're in good standing. The second problem is that these desires sometimes are halal, the way you fulfill them, but there is a serious attachment. That serious attachment for now is okay. Like the problem is if it continues, it may overcome your decision making. And when it comes to a haram opportunity, and you have gotten that nafs to always hear you say, yes sir, yes ma'am, yes sir, yes ma'am, it's going to be really hard to say no in that position. So you have to say no to it in halal so that you're ready to say no in haram. That's why we have siyam, for example, fasting. When you're fasting from things that are halal, eating, drinking water, the most basic need, right? But it's training you that you sometimes need to avoid some halal so that you're not attached to the extent that your desire could sometimes tell you to do something in haram. You know, for example, if somebody doesn't control their sexual desire, right? Now, they're not supposed to suppress it. They go get married and they practice normally. But if they're the person that every time they have close to an urge, it has to happen, and they don't give themselves any moment of no, to the extent that every moment, I mean, it's halal, but if every time I desire something, I must have it, there's no negotiation, then guess what? When the person, let's say for some reason, is in a position where there's no wife around, there is a person around, that person cannot be their wife for some reason, and they are tested like Yusuf was tested with Zulaykha, how would you think they would respond? They gotten used to saying yes all the time. Now you're going to say, well, it's haram, this, that, yeah, but the nafs doesn't agree. Do it, you need to do it, now you better do it. This is where we start falling. Allah in the Holy Quran tells us a story, and He tells the Prophet to relate it, about a alim from Bani Israel. This alim reached a very high level of knowledge that Allah has given him some of the ayat. According to the tafasir, He has given him letters from Al-Ism Al-A'zam. How many of you have one of the letters of Ism Al-A'zam? Allah's greatest name. I don't think we have it, right? This is only given to the ma'soomeen and to the very, very high kummal. I don't know, this person was qualified. Allah tested him with letters of the Ism Al-A'zam, that if he uses these letters, he can tell anything to happen and it would happen. He had a problem with following his desires. Sometimes you find a person, they're a worshipper, they pray day and night, but still they haven't controlled their desires. Just the fact that you pray day and night, pray Salatul Layl, go to Ziyarah, doesn't make you a person who has taken full control of desires. Because desire comes in different ways. Sometimes desire to lead, desire to preside, to be a president, to be a leader, to be someone of authority. That's also a desire. Desire is not about eating, drinking, having women in your life or so on and so forth. No, desire is sometimes something else. Sometimes desire could be for status. You think when shaitan comes to ulama and maraji, or those who are of high caliber and piety, he's going to say to them, hey, there's this very attractive woman, you should go for her. You think shaitan is that stupid? No, because that doesn't even cross their mind. Or he comes to them and says to them, you know what, there's a lot of money in this, take it, go on a vacation. 90 years old, what vacation will I go? But you know what shaitan will do? He'll come and say, somebody's marja'iyya is developing, and it might become more known than your marja'iyya. Be careful. Got to do something about it. Islam is jeopardized now, because if that other person is receiving a lot of attention from people, he's not qualified like you. Be careful to let him do this. Shaitan is not going to come and say, just have envy on that person. No, he's going to package it in a very appealing way. Islam is dependent on you. Imam al-Hujjah is waiting for your guidance to these people. These are the orphans, and this person is going to take them away from the straight path. Do something about it. And now he begins to think, okay, what should I do? But all that is an illusion, because that other person is also a righteous person. They're doing their best as well. But shaitan doesn't convey that to the person in this way. So these things are very hard when we are tested with. This alim from Bani Israel was tested with authority, to the point where Fir'aun of his time convinced him to side with him against Musa alayhi salam, or one of the Anbiya of Bani Israel. And all they wanted from him is to make a dua against Musa, subhanallah. Make a dua. Of course, Allah would not take that dua, but it's a test. Allah gave him these letters. If he used them, whatever we want would happen. But Allah doesn't give it to anybody. He gives it to those who know how to use them and when to use them. But this person allowed his desire to come. Now he couldn't use them, because as soon as he was about to use them, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made a miracle where his tongue came out. A very long story, I don't want to get into the details. But Allah says in the Holy Quran that he detached himself from these ayat. He did not live up to the expectation of having such a trust. فَانْسَلَخَ مِنْهَا. He detached himself from these ayat. فَأَتْبَعَهُ الشَّيْطَانِ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ. Shaitan pursued him, came after him, and was able to trap him. فَكَانَ مِنَ الْغَاوِينَ. He became a deviant. وَأَخْلَدَ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ. He clung to the earth. It's a metaphor to say that, as a human being, you have the potential to excel to the heavens or to go down to the earth. أَخْلَدَ إِلَى اتِّبَاعُ الْهَوَى. Following desire is a form of clinging on to the earth. وَاتَّبَعَ هَوَاهُ. And followed his desire. And this is what led him to this very outcome. We find in Karbala many examples. Umar ibn Sa'd, I always repeat this, La'natullahi alayka ya Umar ibn Sa'd. May Allah's la'na be on Umar ibn Sa'd and those who brought Umar ibn Sa'd to this position of authority. Umar ibn Sa'd, he was struggling and he was saying to himself, there's no way I can kill Hussein, because that's setting myself to go to hellfire. He knew this very well. There's poetry attributed to him. He says, أَرْجِعُ مَأْثُومًا بِقَتْلِ حُسَيْنِ. How can I take the sin and the burden of the sin of killing Al-Hussein? So he's aware, he's not blinded. But he said, if I don't, I'll miss out on this great opportunity that Ubaydullah promised me. This authority, authority comes with a lot of prestige. You think authority has to happen with a government. No, sometimes authority could be being in charge of a trash can. That's also authority. Please understand, authority is not limited to a specific level. You bring me, for example, to an organization and you tell me, Sayyid, you're in charge of setting the seats and the tables whenever we have a program. That's authority. You say you're in charge, you are the director of this position. To me, this is big, because now I'm going to be the one who has to say yes or no. I have to keep checking my heart to know that why am I doing this? And am I taking this because I like to have authority, or I want to do it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is where we are tested. Umar ibn Sa'd says, no, I can't let go of this. Battle with himself. But as you know, Umar ibn Sa'd was not a person who was always trained the nafs and said no to it. No, he always said yes to it. So at this moment, it's hard to say no to it. He said yes to it. And this yes caused him the eternal suffering, as he had killed Rayhanat Rasulillah, Qalbu Rasulillah, the heart of Rasulullah, Al-Imam Al-Hussein alayhi salam. What have they done to Imam Hussein? It's beyond description. They killed him, killed his children, killed his companions. Not only that, burned his tents. Not only that, stepped over his body with the hooves of the horses, trampled over his body. Not only that, took his women and children as captives from Karbala to Kufa to Sham. This is not like a journey of an hour or two. These are days of suffering and suffering. This is Zainab salamullahi alayha, who was not seen. Some narrators say we have not seen ever the shade of Zainab. Now you see the face of Zainab. That's big for Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Yes, their hair was covered. We don't accept the idea that says their hair was shown or was taken. No. Allah protected them. They were very sad that their faces were shown. And Majlis-e-Sham, when she was delivering the sermon, she said to Yazid, وَأَبْدَيْتَ wujuhahun, you revealed their faces. This is big for Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, because they represent the highest level of modesty. And then Zainab alayhi salam, according to some riwayat, Zain al-Abidin, they now return to Karbala. Two riwayat or multiple opinions. They return to Karbala or go directly to Medina and then come to Karbala. Irrespective of that, but then they went back to Medina. I want you to take your imagination to Medina for a little bit. Zainab left Medina with her brothers, with her family, with her sons. They went together to Mecca. From there they went to Iraq. But now she's back to Medina. Medina is empty now. She enters into the house of Hussein, but there is no Hussein. She enters into the house of Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, the one who left Medina as a supporter for her. Sister, I got your back. I'll be with you when you need me. Now she is back to Medina. She enters the house of Abu al-Fadl. Where is Abu al-Fadl? All she can see is memories. Abu al-Fadl used to sit here. He used to pray here. He used to eat here. She goes to the house of Ali al-Akbar. She goes to the house of Al-Qasim. She goes to the house of her loved ones. And all she sees is just memories and memories. She begins to mourn and cry. Aywa akhah wa Husayna. Aywa akhah wa Abbasa. And then while she's crying and mourning, according to some riwayat, a lady begins to knock the door. Knock the door with wailing and crying. Who's here? It is Lady al-Baneen alayha salam, coming to console Zainab. I imagine when Zainab opened the door and they embraced each other, al-Baneen would say, wa waladah wa Husaynah, oh son of Hussein. And Zainab would respond, wa akhah wa Abbas, oh brother Abbas. I imagine al-Baneen saying to Zainab, Zainab, tell me, how did my sons do in Karbala? Did they defend Hussein? Did they die in the way of Hussein? Yes, oh mother al-Baneen. Your sons did a great job. They gave away their life for Hussein. Mother al-Baneen, you should see your son Abbas. You should see the courage. When his brother asked him to go get water from the river, he went courageously. He brought the water, but sadly, Baneen, he couldn't make it to Hussein. Why? What happened? Mother Baneen, on the way, they struck both of his arms. They struck the qirba, the water bag, with an arrow. Mother Baneen, you should see how Abu al-Fadl was so disappointed seeing all the water go. He was excited that he was able to get water for Hussein. He did not even want to touch and drink this water and taste a drop of it before his brother Hussein. Mother Baneen, you should see when the enemy came from behind him with a pole and struck him on his head. He fell down, but there are no hands to fall down on. He fell down on his face. Aywa Abbasa. Mother Baneen, you should see Hussein when he went rushing towards his brother Abbas. This was a moment for Hussein where he felt broken, where he felt that he lost hope. Akhi Aba al-Fadl, al-an inkasara dhahri. Now my back has broken, Abu al-Fadl. Who is going to be the leader of my army? You are the alamdar. You have dropped the alam. The alam is no longer there. Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. أيقتل ظمآنا حسين بكربلاء فرج عنا يا الله يا حسين مأتم الحسين يا حسين 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 يا حسين
But wallah, ya dahra ma ninsa Husaina abad wallah ya dahra ma ninsa Husaina abad wallah ya Zahra ma ninsa Husaina abad wallah ya Zahra. From the day that we were born until the day that we will die, we will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein, Ya Hussein. From the day that we were born till the day that we will die, we will not forget your ultimate sacrifice. In your name the tears will sing from our eyes. Your name forever will be heard from the sky. This is a promise to you, Fatima, oh Fatima. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein. In the land of Karbala, you were standing all alone, with no family around, and so far away from home. No one was by your side, but today we have shown to the day that we will die. To your shrine we will crawl. This is a promise to you, Fatima, oh Fatima. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein. Our master was alone, thirsty in Karbala, as he put his head down for his one sajda. From the skies a voice came, Nafsi mutma'inna. We will cry forever on this, O Zahra. This is a promise to you, Fatima, oh Fatima. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein. There will come a day when we will have to make a stand. When Mehdi reappears, we will grow the Holy Land. We will pay attention to his every command. We will be by his side, mu'mineen, hand in hand. Abad wallah, ya Zahra, ma ninsa Husaina. 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 We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein, Ya Hussein. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein, Ya Hussein. Throughout history, there has been no warrior that compares to Abbas, the son of Haydar. Loyalty and courage linked to him forever. Gave his life for the love of his brother. This is a promise to you, Fatima, oh Fatima. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein. We will not forget Karbala. We will not forget you, Hussein. We will not forget you, Hussein.
Ya Hussein, 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 Ya Hussein.
है जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा, है जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा, है जब मुझे आपके कातिल ने है मारा बाबा. आता माझे बेसकीनाने, आता माझे سے سکینہ نے پکارا بابا
مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے
مارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل
ہے مارا
مجھے بالوں سے پکڑ کر تماچے مارے مجھے بالوں سے پکڑ کر تماچے مارے میں نے سر شیر سے مانگا جو تمہارا بابا جب مجھے
آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا
وہ جو دریا اپنے تحفے میں مجھے بخشے تھے وہ جو دریا اپنے تحفے میں مجھے بخشے تھے ان کو بے درد سے ظالم نے اتارا بابا
مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا
ساترے وانوں کے دورایا گیا ہے مجھ کو ساترے وانوں کے دورایا گیا ہے مجھ کو پورے زخموں سے بدن میرا سارا بابا
مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا
میری غربت پہ چچا جان کا سر روتا ہے میری غربت پہ چچا جان کا سر روتا ہے ان کی غربت کو کہوں کیسے گوارا بابا
مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا
لوگ نظام اسے ریکو کیسے ارے لوگ نظام اسے ریکو کیسے میرا سگھر تھا مجھے جیسے بھی پیارا بابا
مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل ہے مارا بابا
بے کفن آپ ہو بے کفنے گی بیٹی بے کفن آپ ہو بے کفنے گی بیٹی ایک جیسا مقدر ہے ہمارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہمارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہمارا بابا جب مجھے آپ کے قاتل نے ہمارا بابا
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین
یا حسین
یا حسین
یا حسین
یا حسین
اے چاند کربلا کے اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش باری کے تارے اے چاند
کربلا کے اے
چاند
کربلا کے
اے چاند جلوہ گر ہاشم کا چاند یہاں پر خیرات روشنی کی لے جائیو یہاں سے اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کے تارے اے چاند
کربلا کے اے
چاند
کربلا کے
اے چاند اس زمین پر رکھیو ہمیشہ ٹھنڈک سوتے جو ہے یہاں پر زہرا کے ہیں یہ پیارے اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کے تارے اے چاند کربلا کے کربلا کے حسنی موسل سبیلو سر کے یہ مالک مارے گئے جو پیاسے اس نہر کے کنارے اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش باری کے تارے اے چاند کربلا کے اے چاند
کربلا کے
مارے گئے یہی پر بے دردیوں ستم سے مسلم کے دونوں پیارے زینب کے دونوں بیٹے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کے تارے اے چاند کربلا کے اے چاند کربلا کے پامال ہو رہی تھی قاسم کی لاش رن میں عباس اور سرور چنتے تھے ان کے ٹکڑے اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کے تارے اے چاند کربلا کے کربلا کے اس سرزمین پہ گزرا سرور کی یہ بھی صدمہ سینے پہ کائی برچی ہم شکل مصطفیٰ نے اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کے تارے کربلا کے چاند
کربلا کے
پانی پلانے لائے ایک محلہ کا کو سرور کی ذبح حرملا نے تیرے ستم لگا کے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش عرش بری کے تارے ہے چاند کربلا کے چاند اس بن میں ایک باچی بابا کو ڈھونڈتی تھی بکھڑی ہوئے پڑے تھے جب سر بری تلاش ہے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر اور شباری کے تار ہے چاند کربلا کے بازو بندے یہی پر پہل حرم کے اس سرزمین سے نکلے سجاد سر جھکائے اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش باری کی تار ہے چاند کربلا کے پھر یہ بھی تو نے دیکھا وہ غم رسیدہ بچی سینے پہ سو رہی تھی بے سر پدر سے لپٹے ہے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کی تار ہے چاند کربلا کے چاند کربلا کے اے چاند جلوہ گر ہاشم کا چاند یہاں پر رات روشنی کی لے جائیو یہاں سے اے چاند کربلا کے تو نے تو دیکھے ہوں گے اترے تھے اس زمین پر عرش بری کی تار ہے چاند کربلا کے چاند کربلا کے چاند کربلا کے یا حسین
We have salat time right now. Just please help the volunteers with the cups, and then we will start. And if anyone has to do the wudu, please there is one bathroom over here, and we have one of the stairs
إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي